Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to our panel discussion on impact of AI on the economic landscape. I am Priyanka from SharePro. SharePro is a talent mobility platform with a remarkable 98% joining ratio, all thanks to our in-house AI assistant for ensuring interviews are conducted with utmost transparency and accuracy. It's a truly pleasure to have you all join us today. We have exceptional lineup of speakers with us today. Without any further delay, let me just introduce with our first speaker, Ramesh Mitra Gotri, the CHRO of Ultratech Cement. With more than 3 decades of experience in HR, uh, he has shined throughout his career. Hi, Ramesh.
Hi, Priyanka.
Joining us next is Isha Gulati, VP HR of Incido, an HR leader with over 14 years of experience across multinational companies. Welcome, Isha.
Hi, Priyanka. Thank you.
Okay. The session will be moderated by Vikas Agrawal. He is COO at SharePro. Now, I would
Hi
like
everyone.
to hand over the session to our moderator. Hi, Vikas, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, Isha, for taking a time in your busy schedule. And so, as we all are aware about the current scenario about AI and the buzzes going around, wherein it is told that AI is going to change a lot and it is enhancing time by time. It is also said that AI is going to eat a lot of jobs. And so, just to start with, very first question, Ramesh, to you, what are your thoughts? Wherein how has AI advanced, and what all things are you implementing right now at your organization? Maybe to start with, Ramesh.
Right. AI, as an advance, has been pretty rapid, and Ultratech Cement, for a very literal brick and mortar company, I think is quite a lot because it's first of all, I must say that it has helped our very rapid growth. We have doubled in size in the last 6 years. We become, we almost the second largest company in the world now in terms of cement and cementitious products that are coming down. And almost because we haven't declared some of the projects that are happening right now, which very soon in commissioning, we are going to cross to be the number two. Now, where AI has helped us is, I think, personalization is one very big part because uh, there are different soil strata, there are different ways in which construction happens everywhere. You can actually customize the cement precisely to apply to local conditions, right, and to the applications that they have. Earlier, it would be more done at the end of use, where the user does the mixes, but you can actually do it now right through your mass manufacturing process. Uh, it has also brought about a lot of efficiency and optimization of the plants, and optimization of the flow of material to the consumer. Uh, the large part of cement cost is sitting actually in logistics, in the movement of material from place to place. So optimizing of that has been a big factor. So efficiency and optimization is another part. Uh, in working on composites, the further actions, further uh, part of construction which is into composites, that's also a large part that's coming through AI in terms of understanding what's getting used today in the market, and then recreating composite products for that application has also been a large part of use I can think of, the way where we have applied AI. Besides the conventional ones of control rooms and things, which through machine learning is running how to run plants on its own.
Thank you for the
That
insights, Ramesh. So, for my knowledge, it was AI can mainly be used into IT, wherein a lot of things can be automated, operational things can be removed. But thank you for giving such an insightful thing about how does the manufacturing industry is using AI and how impacts it could create. Isha, over to you about the same question.
Sure. No, very insightful, for me as well, Ramesh, to learn how it is being used in Ultratech. I would say, overall, the question that you posed, Vikas, was, I'll probably take a broader view and then I can talk about some of the specific things. So clearly, there is no doubt about as AI is definitely is kind of rampantly present everywhere. Right now, it is definitely helping right from anyone in the manufacturing industry where one can really say that yes, there are a lot of repetitive things. At the same time, it is also kind of really helping in places or in use cases where you use a lot of data. There is a lot, to kind of really cull out insights from that and then help in making the decisions, for the leadership. So there is a broad spectrum, and then there are industries like healthcare and where also in terms of really detecting a lot of AI is being used in just really the whole understanding what the diseases really are. So earlier there was this whole aspect of that, can AI really replace the diagnosis, let's say, doctors are doing? But it is absolutely, already there where doctors are already kind of really using all of that, right? Even to the extent of, let's say, the whole robotic precision-led surgeries and all. Like I've personally met a surgeon who would recommend, something like this while they'll be there, but they'll be like, in terms of precision, you should go ahead and use the robotic surgery. So clearly the usage is widely kind of spread across the industries. If I were to kind of talk about specifically, and I'll also be mindful of the fact that I've kind of joined in Cito very recently, but clearly in the tech space, AI is very, very this is where the use cases are kind of manifold, I would really say, and also dynamically kind of changing every day. So even here in Insero, there are a lot of, we basically work with a lot of, clients in multiple verticals, wealth management, life sciences, banking, and there are a lot of use cases. So we do have a capability that is, focused on data and AI. And why so is because data is really the base of ensuring that, what is it that you really already have so much of data, and how do you kind of really uh, extract the insights from that and then really enable the decision making. So that's the way to kind of really look at it. But clearly, if we go down, if you look at the overall value chain, right, there are multiple use cases, right from making an individual's work efficient to even thinking about people who are especially software developers, programmers. How do you kind of really have AI used in the software development life cycle itself? That itself kind of really becomes more efficient. And then you kind of really go to the industry specific usage as well, where you're really looking at, again, you look at the value chain, start right from what are some of the basic, repetitive tasks that can be first automated, or AI can really help, make those more effective and productive. And then kind of really go further the value chain of ensuring, as I said, right, like using data-based insights, and then making sure your decision making is becoming more accurate. And how do you kind of remove any unconscious bias that's kind of really there from use taking your decisions based on, let's say, human based analysis only. So that's how I see it's quite widespread. At in Zero, definitely we've really seen there are many offerings. As I said, there is a huge focus in how do we make sure that our data and AI offerings are really spread out across all our clients. In fact, there are multiple new clients that we are offering these to. So I'd say that this is just the beginning. There is a lot more for us to really
Correct.
see in this space. So that's how I'll kind of pause right now.
Thank you, Isha, and thank you for bringing such an important point about biasness. Wherein we have a question for about it. I would like you to get more in details about it to our
Sure.
audience. Before that, let's proceed ahead with more about economy. So, Isha, to you, what do you think? What are the potential risks and challenges with widespread of implementation of AI? How it impact our economy?
So I would say the impact on the economy is definitely going to be positive in my view. uh, clearly there is a lot of potential, and I'm giving a broader, answer based on my understanding and whatever I've kind of read and experienced, is that you'll definitely see AI breaking through a lot of things that we may not necessarily have even thought about in the past, right? So clearly there is a lot of potential where it'll only bring in more use cases that we wouldn't have thought about, and it's going to only add to our economical advances. Now, there is definitely risk that comes with it. I don't want to unnecessarily deny, and I don't think it's only me. I mean, if we look at godfather of AI, who kind of from Google, he himself is kind of worried about the risk that AI is going to bring. Um, Now, whether it is about data security, data security risks, privacy, we've seen, especially if we kind of move out of the organizations, we've seen a lot of deep fakes and things like that kind of really making, that is kind of risking a lot of personal security as well. And if you translate that to organizations, think about it, any businesses that are kind of really, and given in today's digital age, if you have certain, one use case I can think of is that if you think of deep fakes itself kind of really, let's say, impersonating customers or decision makers, leaders, and there could be a lot of the way the usage of AI, I don't think there is any, we can probably, there is any bound to it, right? Like we can't necessarily think that where can it go. Similarly, the risks also, I don't think we can envision all of it today. So one has to kind of really think about, before implementing everything, especially in business scenarios, that which are the areas that you really feel you'll be able to safely apply those versus where it requires a lot of thorough evaluation as well as enough governance mechanism to be able to say that yes, you are, you feel secure. And then along with that, how do you then make sure that you are monitoring it on a regular basis, right? You can't necessarily just do it, apply it, implement it, and think that you're done for another 2 years. Given the rapid change, you will see things kind of break maybe much sooner than you'd expect.
Isha rightly said. I just recall an example recently in the news. I heard a CFO was cloned, and wherein 200 crores were just gone away, wherein there was a virtual meeting and everything was set using AI. And it's very important, as you said, even to keep changing the policies as AI is growing. There's a lot of things AI is developing on its own, and where it's very important for us to identify what are the loopholes which we are leaving behind and how we can make sure and we can cover those loopholes. So such kind of financial frauds or any sensitive data, sensitive thing doesn't happen in future. What do you,
Like,
Ramesh? What are your thoughts onto this?
yeah, quick one, adding to what Isha just said. Technology is here to stay, so therefore AI is to stay. I think there is no stopping to that. Uh, like we see, if we move back 30, 40 years ago, automation or IT, which was the early precursor, I think the fear of job losses, the fear of job displacement, all of that, AI will still bring the same concerns back for the short term. But it also creates opportunities for newer industries. That's what IT did to India. Right? It created a whole big industry for India as IT, and the same people who were fearing, moved on to another one. AI will have a similar metamorphosis across, and it will create many more opportunities. Yes, I think the data privacy risks, in fact, not just data alone, but individual privacy it itself will be open. So privacy in that context will need a redefinition. Our social norms will undergo that. There are risks of misuse, and one of the, I think Isha elaborately spoke about that. Added dimension to that, I would say, is in the short run, there is also a decision-making risk if high dependence on AI comes in, and decisions are tagged to that. Bad input will lead to bad decisions, and that's a risk in the initial period till the AI or systems perfect themselves. I think that's something to be guarded, and that brings to a point of ethical behavior of machines, right? And what is ethics in that? Is that a different definition than the way we are looking at uh, who would you then hold accountable? The machine or the person who made the machine, person who's using the machine, all of that. It puts the whole thing into a very different light on how we would define in that. Those are the changes yet to be seen, and we've got to be conscious about how do we uh, humans still bring in that touch of humanity in all these changes.
Correct, Ramesh. There are a lot of new laws I feel which will be implemented in near future regarding AI. That who is going to take which blame. So moving forward, this one question which I have was right now we are talking about big industries, big companies, but we are able to see that SME is a big market wherein companies are growing. So how can SMEs leverage AI to compete with large corporations and access new markets, Ramesh?
I think numerous opportunities. In some sense, maybe we are not a SME, we are a very large organization, but we did that. I think in small ways, uh, data access to a large amount of both macro, micro data and its analysis and insights will give a lot of opportunity. Personalization, in knowing the application of the customer and therefore designing the right fit products that the customer would be very happy to pick up. Access to new markets, right, which conventionally one would tend to look at. Then there would be many more in terms of focusing on the kind of segments that they want to pick up. Speed to market. Sometimes many of these people struggle in terms of the product changes going in. AI brings in a lot of input to these organizations. So one is in terms of efficiency in with which they operate, the link to the consumer, end consumer who's going to be using the products, and therefore improving your value chain and delivery of that. All of those will actually, bring them and create new opportunities for them. Besides the conventional applications that they have in terms of what goes alongside automation, what today perhaps is a very labor intensive operation could then be a scattered operation with use of 3D printing and all of different aids and technologies that happen. So all of that help in creating uh, newer opportunities for use and growth of these organizations.
Correct, Ramesh. Thank you for your inputs. Isha, same question to you.
So, the way I kind of look at it for the small, and medium enterprises firms, clearly, think about it. The threats that, let's say, firms are really thinking about, or people are thinking that, yes, there could be a lot of job losses, right? While we know that they'll not, it may not necessarily translate into exactly like that. But for the smaller firms, it becomes an opportunity because they're already, a lot of times they're constrained, of resources, let's say, and that itself kind of provides an opportunity that as you kind of bring AI into the play, it just opens up a lot of opportunities that they can potentially use, it to get a lot of things that otherwise could have been very, very expensive for them to really get into, right? Right from, again, operations to what Ramesh was talking about, that how do you really look at your market that you're trying to reach to. So be it marketing, um, be it looking at how your customers are really right now engaging with you, understanding, again, it's the whole concept would be, I would still say, that looking at different sets of data to be able to get different insights, and then um, change your strategy, or to make sure that you're more effective now, whether it is kind of increasing, thinking about which product lines do you want to really be adding to the market, which ones do you want to maybe remove, which is working better and which is not profitable. So there could be a lot of decisions that can be done without necessarily having a lot of um, infrastructure rules of support, or even resources support, that they may be struggling otherwise for. So that's how I kind of look at it, that definitely the opportunities lies there for every kind of organizations, and SMEs definitely even more, because the costs can definitely be a big deterrent at times for them. and AI definitely brings that, makes it much easier.
Correct, Isha. And customer, it can also increase customer engagement, wherein I feel using AI, we can study customer behavior, how maybe just talk about SME, they can see how their customers are behaving right now, what products to focus more upon, and using such things, they can increase their revenues as well. Isha, coming forward, wherein we just discussed about biasness, and so my question to you is going to be traditional ways of hiring. We are aware it was a little biasness where people used to have. How do you think AI-based screening is helping us to mitigate this biasness, or how things are AI is going to change?
So I would say that I don't think there is a very clear answer whether it will always help in removing biases. That's my personal point of view. Why do I say so? Or maybe let's look at this first. That how does it help in removing biasness? So clearly, you could really put a lot of parameters or decision making factors that as a human, when you're really trying to assess people, you definitely look at, no matter how much we try, looking at the resume, looking at an individual, we definitely will tend to have certain unconscious biases that will creep in into decision making, which you can use AI to do away with. At the same time, when you start using any AI engine to screen, or for that matter for any processes, what usually happens is you use historical data to train it as well. Now that is where the risk of those potential biases that have been in the historical usage already, to be already also reflected when you're using AI to make the decisions. So there is a balance again here. I personally won't say that it is completely bias free. It will definitely have some biases as well. In fact, I can share from my personal example again in one of my previous experiences, and this was three years ago. We had used AI, an AI platform for hiring, did a little bit of a 3 month of pilot testing, looked at the results, almost kind of 80% accurate as per what we were doing, otherwise. And then when we really, implemented it, really ran smoothly for about a year, 2 years time frame. But then certain things started to kind of really come, certain anomalies started to surface in the whole process. Things like there were candidates that were probably good in communication were getting rejected, and even vice versa. Those who were kind of clearing, and how did we know, was because the ones who were getting cleared, some of them really did not have the right communication skills, and hence the question started to kind of really arise, that what is it that the initial screening process is doing. And when it took some time to kind of really dig deep into what really started to happen. So when we were partnering with this firm, it was initially a they had only a couple of customers, right? So the database was basically being trained and being benchmarked on, let's say, what at that point we were looking at it in that firm. But as they kind of expanded, they had many customers, and because it was more a recruiting this thing, they felt that yes, having a common, I mean, they could have probably kept the whole environment very secure to, let's say, one client and the other. But when they kind of really went to and open this thing to, the intent was obviously to learn and enhance the AI engine. But what started to happen was, because the benchmarks in all the firms are very different, the results started to kind of deteriorate. So that's where we kind of saw that it did not necessarily stay to that level of accuracy that it started with, because the training itself was not necessarily of that level over the years as the implementation kind of went through. So that's how I would really look at it, that it's again a balance that one needs to look at, ensure that you have the right measures, governance aspects, and clearly human interventions or human supervision is very, very important. You can't necessarily, you can think about at what level you're trying to manage, let's say, a lot of decisions. So if you are doing mass hiring, it's absolutely effective to get AI to really reduce, let's say, the numbers, or get to a certain funnel. And post that, how do you kind of really then again have the human, intervention to make sure that you're taking the right decisions for the business.
Correct, Isha. Ramesh, your views.
Isha made an excellent point. That quite echoed, so I'm just kind of repeating it. If digitization or digitalization, whichever we call it, but actually, if you are doing automation, which means the existing way of doing things, we just convert that to automate it. It's not going to give us anything different than what we do. Digitalization is a completely new opportunity that is there, and that what she termed as intuition. A large part of when we do hiring, there's a significant element of intuition that we pick up. We don't define everything of it, while some part of it gets defined, but that intuition part has a number of variables which possibly you don't call it out consciously, but your mind is doing that. Now, how many of those variables we push as data points and capture them as it happens, right? Because human mind is capable of processing all that, but it is not make a note of them individually. When I'm, let's say, watching somebody sitting in front of me and talking, I perhaps look at eye movements, body movements. I don't make all of those, but make conclusions basis that, right? If digitization moves them, actually the data points get captured as they are, and then they makes meaning out of that. The biases start reducing because they are objective data points, and that's something as a trend we will have to start picking up. Because and there is a pool of data. There is a psychometric data that's available. There's an individual sitting in front and behavior. There is past data, now social media data. All of that all of that, how does that put and make meaning for us to make a little part of that intuition left for human intervention? That's the only part left. The large part is already decided. With little data, if we try making a decision, obviously it is not going to be enough.
Correct. Isha, to add to your point, as you said, it can definitely for mass hiring. It is useful wherein there are a lot of resumes wherein your recruiter has to go through. And instead of going through all, if they can get the best of the results,
Absolutely. It's a
uh,
point whether you are using it for selection or rejection or screening, I
correct.
would say.
Correct. Yeah.
For selection, you will need many more data points to check on and make a decision.
Correct. And customization is also very important. As you said, the company which the tool you were using, if the customization would be there for your organization, I don't feel that issue might have been arise wherein multiple companies or backend, all the data were mix and match at the time.
Yes.
So going forward to the next question, wherein Ramesh, I would like to ask you, what excites you or concerns you most about AI in growing role in economy and daily life?
I think amazing. The first part is the personalization. Yeah, so I think there's a quite um, intuitively somebody, my phone knows what do I do normally, or my Outlook knows if before a meeting it'll give me all the material related to that subject. So it makes life simpler, makes it easier, brings it all in one place. Uh, so that's one part as a person that would do it. I think as it is coming more, um, routine decision making, actually gets taken care by the machines now. What would need constant intervention or somebody supervising? I don't think the layer called supervision. I think with AI, advent of AI must never come up in organizations. You don't need supervision. You need people who are individuals and teams coming together, working, contributing to what they do without supervision. And because AI takes care a lot of part of that. So that I the sheer number of possibilities excite me. I think what all it can do and what all we can apply. That's quite a big opportune moment for the world actually to look at everything. Whether it is in transportation, I'm waiting for the driverless car just to come pick me up and take me to where I have to do. Yeah, or future, who knows, teletransportation or whatever can go. The sheer possibilities are quite high.
Correct, Ramesh. And even I would want if we can have some teletransportation, wherein we just think of a place and wherein we just can go. We can save a lot of time of ours.
Yeah, at least my
Isha,
avatar is there, and then which is already a possibility today. But yeah, that's what it can do. It can create numerous possibilities for you. Thanks.
Isha, about you?
No, I would echo with what Ramesh said. So clearly, there is definitely a lot of opportunities, and that's definitely there's we don't even know what's kind of lying ahead for us. That's how I would say. So clearly, there is excitement that's there because of that. I would maybe just add to what concerns me because that is what also you asked me. But I'll put a little bit of a personal perspective here. There is a mother, of two children. I am a little concerned about how it will impact the education industry. Because when you've learned a skill to a great extent and you've become an expert, using AI post that will make you more efficient, will make you more, will open up a lot of possibilities, as Ramesh said. At the same time, when you're in your learning curve, and if you use AI to kind of aid you in giving results sooner, then somewhere you are really also hampering the whole growth of yourself. Just the potential of the human mind itself can get there is definitely that we are blocking that in some way, and that's the risk that I feel, or something that I personally feel concerned about, is because there is no way we can stop it from coming in our children's lives or in students lives as well. But and these are the people who would kind of really grow up to become the future workforce, and will come in the businesses in multiple ways in different industries. And that's something that I definitely feel a little concerned about, because that just it does hinder the learning process and the whole development of your thinking ability, logical thinking. So that's one thing that I'm personally apprehensive about.
No, that's a very interesting point because all our paradigms of what is learning,
Yeah,
what is education, all those will have to be relooked in the light of
yeah,
what's happening. Talking of
true.
personalization in a lighter vein, a friend of mine was saying that he bought a ceiling fan from Amazon and then he started getting ads for a chair and a
Oh,
rope
yes,
also. So, so
yes,
that's just too much of customization and
sure.
He
personalization
might
in
have
that.
also searched something about suicide or something, wherein everything came at one place.
I know it gives ideas actually.
Yeah.
Okay. We covered a point about this earlier about human potential in AI future. So, what do you think, Ramesh? How will humans have an edge over machines?
I, primarily machines are machines. They will do what they are programmed or made to do. Even with intelligence, whatever they call now the neural thinking of machines that uh, continues to operate like a human brain. I The element of human, machines will be harnessed to do the good for whatever is good for the universe, the people, the mankind, right? So it is, I think the human is going to be kind of regulating and doing it. Parts, tasks, actions, even elements of thinking can get taken over. I think it's a push to humans to rise above that. I think the right now, we all the time when we make a call to customer service, you talk to a machine, right? I even however machine perfects, you miss that human element, the empathy, the understanding, the connectedness. I think machines will do to the best extent possible, but we'll still need to bring the human touch in whatever we do. Right? It's always different when you interact with a person providing you the service than robots coming and serving you. I mean, that's the need, perhaps, our speed of life, etc., will give us. We'll also have to interact with machines. But yet, we'll always yearn to link with others, connect with others, and do that. And that's a human element which has to build in, and it'll perhaps take years for machines to build that and perfect. May not be as long as human evolution took, but it'll be faster to do that, but it will still not substitute because human conscience is good enough to even rise above that. And that's what we've got to build in. Not become subjects of those machines, but you know, be above the machines in thinking, acting, behaving what we do for each other.
Even Ramesh,
Even
nowadays,
specific at this stage because
mobile phones.
yeah, sorry, I meant
Sorry, go.
it sounds philosophic at this point of time because that this is as we build and as we go along as we experience, but that's what is the direction we need to take. We let machines do as our what we do today, our jobs, etc., will go away. I think there was some movie I'd seen called Wall-E, which had shown, it's an animated movie worth watching. It says humans have become so much subject of machines that machines were running them and they were giving them a comfortable life. So all of them had forgotten what it is to be, master of your own mind. So that's a very interesting. We'll have to be still master of our minds.
Correct. Even Ramesh, nowadays, which we were able to see in our mobile phones, if you just tell them how you talk, just have a word with them. Now they can even copy your language, your words, how do you speak. So going forward, it is going to be a tough time, and it's not far, I guess. Wherein
No,
even
no, not
nowadays,
very far.
I get
Even
some calls.
already entertainment industry has begun using it.
Correct. Yesterday only I got a call from some bank and it said Vikas. So it's an automated call. I can come to know from that. So it's very difficult to know wherein if it's automated call or a manual, someone speaking on it.
True.
Isha, your thoughts on the discussion we're going upon?
I definitely agree with what Ramesh said, and especially the point he made about being the master of your own mind is so um, so important, and also related to what I was talking about as the concerns that I feel I have for AI, because if you do not get your mind to kind of develop to the extent that you really are able to make a conscious choice of what decisions you really want to make, or are you really being run on a pilot, on an autopilot by someone else? That's the risk that really is a little bit of, I would say, frightening. Right? So that's the part that I believe is something that we should definitely be wary about. But nonetheless, clearly, the opportunities still kind of really are many fold. But how do we really ensure that we are able to, keep that fine line of where do we continue to invest, so that we are, focusing on our own development. And when I say our own, I'm talking across the generations, right? Especially even more important for growing children, as well, and even for professionals like us. How do we make sure that we are kind of really working on ourselves as well, much more learning, making sure that we are learning as well, so that we can use AI more effectively, more intelligently. um, that's going to be very, very important in my view.
Correct, Isha. It's very important to understand how we can use AI and
Yeah.
maybe remove the operational tasks from our daily jobs and um, use it to enhance our skills. So my last question being starting with you, Ramesh. What do you think are the emerging trends and the future directions for AI in economic landscape?
I think it's right now in the application elements of number of industries are learning, but I think common applications have come in. What has touched our lives is the gadgets that we use today. Come built in, right? And it's already taking over. I mean, whether it's a washing machine or a oven at home or a refrigerator, these come with many of parts of AI. So it's already there. It's now going to seep into um, every piece of equipment, if I may say, every piece of learning. For example, teaching in schools, learning. Today, I think it is universities. You don't have to physically go. You get the best of the world wherever you are in terms of learning. So all of those, I think it's going to take in a big wave. It's waiting for entrepreneurs to really invest into and bring it into their own areas of work. Uh, Whether it is a old economy company, it's a new economy company, or companies from this opportunities to be born, all of those. I see a tremendous uh, positivity in actually AI coming in and creating. It will, like any change, will have some upheaval. I think we should be mindful of how we're going to handle that change and take it forward. But it's an opportunity to be picked up.
Correct. Recently, I bought
Recently, I
a
bought a
smartwatch,
smartwatch,
and
and
to my surprise, it came with AI, wherein it helps me to understand how much I'm sleeping, how much I'm walking, how much should I sleep, how much should I walk. So there are a lot of new things which comes nowadays. As Ramesh said, it's going with time. Things are going to change. Even in our surroundings, a lot of things will change, and this will definitely impact us. Wherein how it helps me understand what I am doing wrong and how things could be done better. So definitely, Ramesh, agree to your points. Isha, your words on this emerging trends and future
No,
directions.
I'll just build on, very much in line with what Ramesh and in fact you also added, because clearly, health is, for example, clearly one industry where, like you said, a smartwatch. We all know how Apple Watch really has helped a lot of people. I know personally of people who have really been who were kind of really there was an alarm raised because of their pulse rate, heartbeat, or something, and they were asked to kind of really go consult a doctor, and after tests, something alarming kind of came out. So people have we are at a point already where AI has helped, AI based equipments have helped human beings to such a great extent. So in the times to come, it's only going to further amplify. And, there is definitely, we can't necessarily imagine, because we can't, there is definitely a lot of opportunity where, let's say, one did not have access to some of these aspects, like you were talking about earlier, SMEs now having access to do a lot of things because of, let's say, not having enough cost constraints due to AI. In terms of health, the access to a lot of places where a doctor could not necessarily go, or they may not necessarily be able to reach a hospital in time. So things like that are in a lot of preventive health for sure. um, and so on and so forth, even in learning or any industry that we pick up. There is definitely a lot of potential of just finding out these kind of use cases that will only enhance the way we work today, enhance the way we live lives today, and really add value to just making us more not just effective, but also think of our overall well-being for that matter. Right, so that's definitely, and if all of that is there, clearly it's going to make sure that we are advancing in our in economical manner as well, for sure, in an aggregate manner. But yeah, but again, as Ramesh also said, that we have to definitely be mindful of the risks and ensure that we are not necessarily um, using it in a blindfolded manner, right?
Correct, Isha. I agree to your points. Thank you, Isha and Ramesh. I guess we're done with the questions which we had for our panel discussion today. It was wonderful hosting you guys, and I actually got a lot of insights, even from mechanical sector, wherein I would say manufacturing sector, how AI is impacting them as well. And Isha, from your as well. Thank you for your time, Isha, Ramesh.
Thanks so much, and thank you, Isha. Great meeting you.
Thank you. Same here. Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, Vikas, for the opportunity.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll take leave. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks so much.
yeah,
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
thank you,
You.
Isha. I'll share you the, yeah, sure.